coming. There we are, Theron.
How dare you question when the stream starts? The stream is like a wizard. It arrives exactly when it's meant to.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. What's going on? We were having an exciting talk about Steve's old car.
Yeah.
Weather, and Jill was sharing a bit of information about Dell computers and how they can be used to terrify people who are unaware of their internal abilities. See, immediately I go straight to, like, how can I weaponize this and make it malicious? And I do believe I formulated a plan.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Hey, everyone. It is Wednesday. It is a warm Wednesday in my case. Summertime is officially here. We've had the most punk winter, which, you know, whatever. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but we do have quite a show for you. This afternoon, this morning.
Yeah.
I don't think it's morning well, I don't know. Is it morning anywhere right now? This is a fair question. This is legitimate. Nubbin, thank you for the resub. 23 months. But we're going to talk about unsnapping snaps.
Nice, Nubbin.
Fedora murderating the BIOS. I know. Pour one out. New Linux kernel 518 RC1. Hacking your Sound Blaster. And of course, Raspberry Pi update for the operating system. Goodbye, Pi. That might be a show title. I'm going to write that down right now because I'll forget. I'm like,
yeah, there we go. That's a good one, yeah.
How's everybody doing? I'm kind of like, you know, as is tradition,
Scale mug.
on Wednesday, it never fails. Like, fates will collide to make sure if I order something tomorrow for the next day shipping, there's a non-zero chance that it will not arrive until next Wednesday around 3 p.m. Surprisingly, this thing is not going to be here until tomorrow. What am I talking about? I'm talking about a pair of headphones that are so ugly that I don't know if I want to wear them on air.
Oh, okay. What brand are they?
Oh, I'll be showing them off. Not a brand that anyone's going to be familiar with.
Oh, fugly. I see. I see in the notes.
They are absolutely hideous. Every review, like, hey man, these things do what they claim. They're mixing headphones. They're multi-mode headphones. But every single review that has been done with these, at some point, because of course you research these things, and you got to filter out the audiophile stuff and find the people with mixed desk, and they're like, all right, hey, you might be able to get away with this. Every single one brings up, you're like, if you can get over the way they look. So I'm going to have to get over the way they look. Fortunately, they have a slightly less ugly version that I was able to get. But they're still pretty ugly. They're not pink. I know, right?
Yes, mine are probably ugly to you, but they match my chair. And it's kind of funny because, you know, I have like over a dozen probably pink headphones, and these are the ones that sound the best. And it's perfect because they're the ones that actually match the pink on my chair and my microphone muff. Oh my God.
You know, I mean, if those were quality mixing headphones, I can get over a lot of stuff. Those are pink. That's about the only thing those headphones got going for them. Yeah.
And what's nice is they're inexpensive enough that they don't have the bass boost, which is a requirement for listening to Ven's deep voice. I can't have headphones that have bass boost in them or that hurts my ears because he's got a nice low voice. So these work perfect. They're just flat stereo. They're fine.
I don't know. It's either buying the headphones. This is what I'm trying to get away with. Or setting up studio monitors for mixing. And I don't want studio monitors. I got enough stuff in here to worry about. I don't want to run wiring.
Yeah, I understand that.
Right, so we got this put together. We got about 5 minutes before go time, everybody. We're going to be punctual this afternoon.
Okay.
And
I will be right back. Break, and then I'll be ready. Yay!
I gotta get this lined up. I don't know what that button does now. Oh. Wait. Okay. You know what? After some discovery, after a little bit of research, I still don't know what that button does. If something crashes, it's because I'm pressing a button. I don't know. Okay, what I'm looking at is, this is a BPM time. That's normally what I hit because it defaults to beats per minute. But I finally got around to setting this thing to do accurate time by default. So when I hit BPM, it switches to something else. I mean, there's still numbers involved. But, okay, let's see what 900 is. 29. Oh, it's got 3 modes. What? Okay. I get it. I get it. I think I understand what it's doing now. There's like 6 different time modes. And I know what one of them means. Audio professional. I know these sleeves have to come up. That's going to be a thing. But yeah, it looks like those headphones aren't going to arrive until tomorrow. Which is good. Maybe I'll wear them Saturday. I don't know if they're going to be something I'm going to wear on the show regularly. Because they are atrocious looking. They look like try-hard headphones. They're definitely the type of headphones that if you wore them out and about, you'd only be wearing them to try to get attention. Because they're not really good music headphones. Which is fine. But we are still playing with Reaper, and I got a bunch of stuff kind of wired in. I got to figure out some latency. Not issues, but I got to do some latency sync things. Which might be something I want to do right now. Let me take a look. How do you input VST pass through 0 mapped routing? Is it under parameters? MIDI link? No? I can never find this setting. Okay, Reaper is really cool. It's got a bunch of options, but man, they are all buried. Like, we're talking, well, this one button does 3 different things depending on what, like, did you hit Control A? No, it's Control Right Shift A. Then it gives you that menu. What am I looking for? I know what I'm looking for. Maybe it's under parameter. No. What I'm looking for is latency compensation. PDC. Okay. Adjust automation. Okay, so there shouldn't be anything in the stack that does... Ooh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That could be... Okay, let me disable it. There, and that means I disable it there, which means if I go over here, okay, wait, there it is. Everything's at 0 SPL. Oh. We're gonna have to play around with it. I'm looking forward to it. Hello. I think things are mostly set up. We get our 2-shot. We get a me-shot. I gotta get some lights on, but I gotta get something to drink. And credits are loaded. Yeah, we should be in good shape. Tomorrow, I don't want to promise, I don't want to oversell, but it looks, from my 2 minutes, possibly 3 minutes of testing yesterday that Back for Blood is working now with EAC on Linux. That was in the update that came out yesterday, so maybe tomorrow evening, Jordan and I will be derping around in it, just kind of feeling it out. Might be a good time. I'm not going to make any promises on that because we were able to yoink it in the, what was it? The Humble Ukraine bundle. It was in that. Exactly. Because it's like a $60 game that, let's be honest, it's just Left 4 Dead with trading cards. But it's more. It's more Left 4 Dead.
Linux laptop. Welcome back.
You're back. All right. Let me go get something to drink, and we're going to get into it. We'll do it. Now I'm going to cut.
Okay.
Possibly cut a light on. I forgot to cut all the lights on. I was too busy doing things.
Oh yeah. You are kind of dark.
I'm always dark, Joe.
Yes, you are.
What are you talking about? I'm a lovable ball of sunshine.
Oh boy, yeah. Ven and I are exact opposites. So funny. Hi, Beastwick. Arthur. Arthur, how's your night going? Yay, Beastwick! We'll have fun in Trackmania on Friday. Yeah, it's actually been a really good week. Yeah, I got so after did show notes and played Trackmania yesterday, I had a nice break, and that was cool. And I get to have a little bit of break after the show today, and tomorrow right back into it. Oh, Fedora Cinnamon. Oh, is EMMC so slow? Yeah. EMMC. EMMC. It's like a tongue twister when you're not quite awake. I'm trying to wake up a little bit. I'm a little groggy. Even though I've been up a while, it was just one of those mornings where I had a hard time waking up. Oh, 2 gigs of RAM. Yeah, sometimes it's actually faster to put the distro on a flash card and boot it on those old netbooks. Yeah, I can't do caffeine. So I had a little bit of sugar before the show started. I just do a little bit. It's hard to find a pick-me-up when you can't do caffeine. Yeah, Steve Husband actually got some sleep last night because the kitty, Frodo, didn't bother us in our bed last night till later. Or actually, Steve Husband, did Frodo even come in last night? Or I didn't even notice. I slept better too.
Sleep? Why would you want to sleep? That's silly. You can't do stuff when you sleep.
Yeah. Regenerate.
I was trying to go to bed last night. I started a new book on...
Oh, what book, Ben?
Couldn't tell you. You could hold a loaded gun to my face and I couldn't tell you, Jill.
Oh, okay.
I just, sorted by fantasy. Here's what I do. This is what I do on Audible. I sort by fantasy. I'm like, give me some castles and some dragons and whatever, just something in the background to go to sleep by. But I sort by, this is how I choose it. Who's got the most books in one series?
Yeah. So like, lasts like a couple months.
Right. Like, yeah. Give me like 13 of an overarching story-ish type thing. And I started one. It's The Adventures of the Neckbeard Wizard. Effectively.
Oh, fun. That sounds fun.
Yeah, he are very smart. Man, it's always fun to go back and like look up the author of like, you're like, yeah, that looks exactly like the dude I thought would have wrote that. Yeah. Is that a sleep timer? Oh, I don't. I'm too dumb to do that. I just let it go. Then the next night I spend like 10 minutes backing back. I'm like, was it? No. Was it? No, that was beyond
I'm
that.
like you, Beastwick. I always set a sleep timer. See, at night, I do the same thing. I've listened to audiobooks. Sometimes I listen to the radio. Sometimes it's podcasts. And I always set a sleep timer for like an hour so that the noise isn't continually running after I go to sleep. And that it's easier to go back and listen to it. Yeah, Vin, that is helpful. I make sure to use apps that have a sleep timer.
Yeah, that... I would just sit there and wait for it to go off. Ten minutes.
Arthur, and that was Steve purring next to you. Yes, but our kitty, aw, but our kitty cat Frodo was, I guess, very quiet. He was at the foot of the bed. Steven said, "I don't think I even heard him last night."
You gotta get some cat-proof earplugs.
Yeah.
I don't know how people do that, man. Like animals jumping on them and stuff like that when you're trying to sleep. Like that would be very
it's difficult. Yeah.
Counterproductive to whatever jumped on me being in one piece.
Oh.
I don't need that.
No, we have a bed for him at the foot of the bed, and as long as he stays there, we're comfortable. So. It's when he wants to sleep on our stomachs or our legs that it.
It's the other 99% of the time when it's being a cat, yeah.
Yeah. But he kind of know we've trained him a bit.
That cat's gonna sleep on your head tonight because he heard what you said.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, let's get this underway.
Okay.
I think we're doing good. And I got a couple of things with like latency sync stuff I still got to tie in with outdoors, so there might be some sync issues during the stream. Might be slightly off, but
okay.
Yeah, you know what? Just close your eyes. It won't bother you.
Okay, sounds good.
There we go. I do that and I scroll. Then we do this thing where I complain about also player not having
oh yeah.
Yeah, we just gotta do that. And maybe I can find it. There it is. All right. Hey, we're good to go. Well, you see, that's the thing, Arthur. I don't want to damage an animal. So the life hack to that, no cats on my head. Okay. We got that going. This afternoon's project, while we're waiting for everything to render out after the show, is to wire Reaper into my Stream Deck. Not my Steam Deck, my Stream Deck, using WebSockets. Because
oh boy,
I am drunk with power. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things we found going on in Linux and open source. That was Jill Bryant. Hello, Jill Bryant. How are you doing? I do not see a cat sleeping on your head. That is brilliant. Lovely.
No. Our kitty wouldn't be allowed to do that.
that cat is going to sleep on your head tonight. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know. We were just talking about that in the pre-show. Go back and listen to that if you are a patron. I'm Vin, here at LGC Actual. We're doing the thing. This is where we sit down. We talk about fun stuff. You might have guessed we try to have a fun time. If you're allergic to humor, laughter, and people not being super serial, you might want to run. There's your warning. But Jill, you joined us we keep talking about Trackmania. Why do we keep talking about Trackmania? Because it's silly, it's cheap,
so much
it's fun. Yeah, right?
Yeah, and it's easy. It's a racing arcade game that anyone can sit down and play and learn.
And it's kind of weird like that, because even if you're not into driving games, it's a physics puzzle that
absolutely.
It does something in your little reptile mind that it's clearly into physics. And you're like, how do I do this? How do I work my way through this? And it's super, super accessible. And we had a good time running around tracks. On Tuesday, everyone gets together and we just pick out the tracks that we're going to race. On Friday, we get our own little private server, which wasn't private last night because some moron forgot to put a password on it when he reset it.
Yeah, we had a lot of randos we don't
we had a couple
usually
of randos,
have.
And it happened. I predicted it because I think it was might have been Ogie that gave me like, I didn't have to type in a password. I'm like, oh no, okay, let's see who's going to be the first person, because the game, what you're going to get, the name of the server is Filthy Casuals. Like, hey, we're having fun, we're playing around. I'm like, I guarantee you, just wait, you're going to get some tryhards to come in and just do some victory laps.
Beat us all.
Yeah. It didn't immediately happen, but before we had two that were, like 5 or 6 seconds of like, good on you. I bet you go to the elementary school and outrun the kids when they're doing laps. Understood. But what else have you been up to, man? You went to Disneyland last Thursday, right?
Oh, yeah. It was so much fun. We went there to celebrate.
Did you get
Steven's
Steve 2
birthday.
badges? Did you get one for the front and the back?
Yes. Just the one. So he really enjoyed his birthday badge, or I called it the button of shame as a joke. But no, it was really, really wonderful. All the cast members are trained to see birthday buttons and anniversary buttons. And if you're a Magic Key holder, like we are, an annual pass holder. So, but what was cool is he got sung to by the cast members on, Star Tours. I was trying to think of the name of the ride, the Star Wars ride, Star Tours, and that was really awesome.
What did they sing?
Didn't expect that.
Like "Don't Fear the Reaper"? Or?
Happy birthday.
Oh.
No, happy birthday. And so, but all the cast members and people were wishing him happy birthday, and that was really, really nice. Get to treat him as special because he's my special husband and he deserves it.
Did you get him some new tennis balls for his walker?
No.
Steve had to use old tennis balls. That's a shame. Another thing I was talking about, which this has happened if you watch the show for any amount of time. If I order something, it's going to arrive on Wednesday around 3 p.m. my time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if I get it next day. If I order it from AliExpress, it's somehow just going to show up at 3 p.m. Strangely enough, the one thing I was like, yep, that's probably going to be here at 3 p.m. And it's like, no, it'll be tomorrow. So who knows? But a pair of headphones that are so ugly that I'm scared to wear them, Jill. But
oh boy,
I might not even wear them on air because I got my Sony MDR 7506s. These are classics. They get the job done. Been made for 30 years. But these are kind of a critically acclaimed set of mixing cans. They're a little more expensive, but I found a refurbed. I've been looking for these for about 2 years, and always with the debate of like, do I want to be seen online with that on my head? Because you might even like them, but I'm sure one cup you could wear as a hat because they're also massive.
Oh,
they're big.
Oh,
they're
are they a pretty color or just huge? Or
no. You know what? In their defense, the initial ones I completely wrote off because I'm like, I just can't do that. And I'm not a person. Listen, I mean, I'm not somebody. I am anti-fashion with stuff. I wear weird stuff out and about. But some things are just pushing it too far. But they made a slightly less fugly color combination, but only slightly, only just enough to where I'm going, you know what? That's like 40% off. It was factory refurbished unit. I'm like, fine, we'll just get them because I won't be too upset with them regardless. But Friday, we'll be back in Trackmania. If you want to hop in, you can do that. If you're a Twitch sub or if you're a patron, hop in our Discord. There's a Trackmania channel with the password for the server to practice on until Friday. We do that. We're handing out free games. Top 3 spots. You don't have to be first. In fact, coming in 6th or 7th can win the game for you. It's all about consistency if you want to play along with that. But speaking of games, I know this is not the gaming show, but Back for Blood just enabled yesterday.
Nice.
EAC support on Linux. And yay, because we got to play with that for a minute before they cut the EAC switch on. There's videos of us doing it in the after shows, and we've been looking, big fans of Left 4 Dead, and this is a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. This is not Left 4 Dead 2. It's effectively, or 3, whatever this would be. And I think if everything works out, I don't want to make plans to do it, because if we make plans to do it, something will happen like meteors, but maybe the headphones will arrive and I'll be lost in the awesomeness. Maybe a little too fugly, I'll implode. Jordan and myself, probably tomorrow night, we'll be doing some initial testing with that. Hopefully it'll go better than Fall Guys that Jordan tried to play.
Oh, yeah.
I felt bad. I was like, oh no, but he tried. It was like 3 or 4 minutes and it would crash and come back up. Fall Guys is another interesting thing. This is all stuff that we like to play in the after shows and on Saturday when we get done with Linux Gamecast Weekly. So maybe you can hop in and join us for that. We all love snaps, Jill. I've never heard a bad word said about snap packages. Or like, this is the most awesome technology in the world. It is going to revolutionize packaging on Linux, and it's infallible. It does this. It even gives you like bonus things. No.
Well, Pedro isn't on the show today, so.
We're still going to talk about it. Not regular snaps, but unsnaps. A way to quickly migrate from using snap packages to flatpaks? Yeah, flatpaks.
Yeah. And I know Pedro would approve of that.
I think this gets a little more interesting when you look at the author. It's Popey. Former Canonical employee, but he set this up, man, and this is what it says to do on the tin. Quickly and easy migrate using Snap for applications to Flatpak. Unsnap runs as a 2-stage process. Unsnap itself generates scripts to do the actual migration. This enables users to view and or edit the scripts prior to execution to validate or tweak them. Simple enough to run, clone the Git, boom, hit it, and it does the scripts, package mapping. There's a check mode, application data, logging. There's excluded snaps, a bunch to read on. All this is going to be in the show notes. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of it. But when I first read this, before I really read into it too, I was like, because I want an application to convert a snap into just like a general tar.gz package that I can dump into one directory and run. I'm looking at you. What is it? Authy? Is it Authy? Chrome apps?
Yeah.
Yes, Authy. That has a snap. That is their Linux desktop version. Do you have anything that's other than snap? Nope. But this is still neat because I think Flatpaks, everyone's just kind of agreed like, hey, we're going to do the Flatpak thing. Even OBS, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Do you have Snap installed? To be honest, I was not going to install Snap to try this out.
Oh, yeah. So I haven't used this yet, but I do have snaps installed on one of my machines that I use to test snaps for reviewing on on our show. So I definitely do have that, but I haven't installed on Snap yet because I was kind of waiting till it wasn't experimental, and it still is very experimental right now, but that doesn't usually stop me from trying. But so I will eventually try it on my machine. But what I've heard from the community is that it works pretty well.
Alan makes a point, to say experimental. This is use at your own risk, but go try it.
Yeah.
Bang on it. And, report any bugs you run into. But yeah, I wouldn't be a good use case. I would have to install snaps and find something from Snap to install. And I'm like, does it work into a Flatpak? I don't know. Interesting piece of kit. Interesting piece of kit, but not as interesting as how angry people are going to be for no good reason
Oh, yeah.
because Fedora is going to kill your legacy BIOS. That's right. That's right. Your vintage 2007 PCs will have to run on something else. Right. And think about it, because we're talking about like Athlon 64 and like Core 2 Duo systems that you absolutely, positively need the latest and greatest version. You don't. You don't. But don't worry about it, because, you know, this is kind of a little hybrid mode. And like, hey, this is coming down the pipeline, but they do plan to eventually completely remove legacy BIOS support entirely. And we were talking about this. I mean, it's Fedora. This is...
Yeah, it's Fedora. Yeah.
Before Arch BA, this was the absolute like bleeding edge, you know, brace yourself, get good at Linux scrub distribution. Now it's kind of tame, and that's not a bad thing, because I would absolutely recommend installing Fedora for a desktop for somebody. I'm like, yeah, it's smooth.
Absolutely.
But, you know, UEFIs, they've been around forever now, and you would have to hunt
we were
to
talking
find
about
something,
that
right?
earlier. Yeah.
Hey, what do you think the oldest thing that you have with UEFI is?
Early 2000s, because I know we were talking about a lot of the Dell machines. They were the first to implement UEFI, but you could always switch easily to legacy, which you can on today's modern computers and motherboards.
Because we went through that for a long time. You know, we would have like legacy BIOS mode because, hey, let's bring that back to Canonical and Ubuntu. When I got my, I think it was a quad core AMD, it just had UEFI. It didn't have a legacy fallback mode on that motherboard that I bought. That was the only distribution at the time that could get up and running on it. So things have kind of changed a little bit. But we're talking, again, these old Dell 3010s, they even have UEFI with the legacy BIOS switch, which I was popping into the show because Joel's like, you can make them scream at people without plugging in speakers. I was like, oh, do tell. So
Ben had never played with that. That was so cool.
So anybody that is terrorized from now on, our fault.
Yes. Yeah. And Mir in chat made the point. Yes, UEFI was first implemented. Apple was the first to put it on their machines. But Dell was kind of the first after that. And then HP kind of fell sweet to include that technology. And I really like my UEFI BIOS. But on my old machines, I have legacy. So yeah, Fedora won't work on those old machines. That's what Debian is for.
So. Kind of want to tell all you kids with your UEFIs, get off my lawn with my OBP.
Yeah.
My open boot prom.
And, so this actually really makes sense because Fedora has been, really focusing on more modern hardware and, progressive features like up and coming Wayland. They have that option, and Pipewire and ButterFS, and they really kind of spearheaded making that very stable in a distro.
I want to throw a real thing up. I want to throw something. No, Joe, I just thought of. Everybody in the audience, have you ever tried to use your nice and gooey UEFI BIOS without a mouse?
Oh, I know. It can be a pain. It depends on, the ASRock one I could do pretty well with my keyboard, but other like MSI and
you're decrypting no matter which one you're doing. You're like, what can this tab? Does that move that? Okay, fine. Let's go find the manual. And really, it boils down to like, I'm just going to go find a mouse and plug it in so I can.
Yeah. And you have a really good point, Ben, because that's one thing about UEFI that does irritate me. As I shouldn't have to have a mouse to use it.
Maybe we can talk manufacturers into enabling like an American Megatrends vintage mode, where it just goes blue with the that everyone is used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just an idea. You can charge extra for it. They'll pay for it, but say it's got RGBs. What else does Fedora have for us, though?
Oh, wow. Well, something other huge down the pipeline is when Fedora 37 comes out, probably next year, Fedora will be removing the legacy Xorg driver as well, and will be Wayland only. that's kind of huge. They're making a lot of changes in Fedora 37, deprecating legacy BIOS and Wayland only. So this is going to be really cool to watch this. But knowing the Fedora developers, they're going to do a beautiful job of it, as they did with previous versions of Fedora, and make all the things work. So that's really nice.
Do you hear that, NVIDIA?
Yeah. Well, apparently in Fedora 36, they did a really good job because NVIDIA updated their drivers, and now apparently it's working a lot better in Fedora.
I'm not looking forward to. I've been looking forward to using Wayland for over a decade, and now that it's kind of starting to get there, I'm not looking forward to it at all. But that's just because I'm a curmudgeon. I don't like fixing things that are not broke in my particular case. But for the end user, desktop users, it's going to be a brilliant thing because Wayland is our future. And yeah, I mean, Fedora's got to do it. Fedora's got the user base, and they can drop it out there and
absolutely
really give it the trial by fire and get the feedback from the user. So I want to applaud them on that. Now,
yes.
I thought I was hot because I was running a kernel 5.17 RC, whatever, with my real-time patches. But no, you can't rest on your laurels with Linux kernels.
Yeah. So Linux kernel 5.18 release candidate 1 has been released with new features from AMD and Intel and new system on chip support. And this is actually a big release, despite what Linus says. He always says every Linux kernel release is not that big.
Tis but a patch.
This one is. Yeah. So what's really cool in Linux kernel 5.18, it will have support for Tesla's full-scale driving SoC in the mainline kernel. Woohoo! And this work is done mainly by Samsung and other manufacturers. But that's a big deal because we have, SpaceX and Tesla and Elon Musk going Linux. Of course, he has been for ages. That's what they use at SpaceX for their rockets. And all the things. Aerospace uses NASA, uses Linux. So...
Didn't they throw some Tegra stuff in this? Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, NVIDIA Tegra Video Decode Driver now has support, and we've been kind of waiting for that. I know Ven has been really excited about that.
Well, the Tegra on the mobile really side, cool. Yeah, it's going to be kind of fun to play around with. Seen some of that stuff. AMD GPU FreeSync. Ooh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, AMD GPU FreeSync video mode is now enabled by default. Woohoo! So that's really cool.
Kind of thinking about that. And I was having that discussion last night with, that new AMD laptop video card that they put on a PCI, PCB that they just, what is it, the 5200 or something like that? The one nobody liked it at 4 gigabytes. It's the better than nothing card. I was thinking about buying one of those. And I was thinking about FreeSync. I'm like, maybe I can get a FreeSync mod. Which we both have FreeSync monitors. I've just never used the FreeSync.
Yeah. I've never used the FreeSync on the 43-inch, but I do use it. I have a big a curved monitor behind me, a 34-inch curved, and I've been using FreeSync on that. I've been enjoying it.
That'll be something to play with. Having that on would be a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just nice that it's will be enabled by default. And the Raspberry Pi Zero 2W is now supported in the mainline Linux kernel. Believe it or not, that didn't have full support yet. So
believe it or not, reading that in the show notes reminded me that I bought one, and I haven't done anything with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then also another cool thing is Intel's Alder Lake N SoCs land in this kernel. And it will provide graphics support for the upcoming low-powered and low-end devices, such as Chromebooks. So it's always a great thing to make them more efficient in Linux. So that'll be
How does that affect the battery life of my Steam Deck? It doesn't.
Doesn't, no. But this version does include the finalization of the audio chipset for the Steam Deck.
That's going to be interesting. People, those crazy hackers will be able to install their hacker OS, Windows 11, and maybe they'll get some sound with it. But hey, man, that's the problem with
Yeah,
Windows. Sound
maybe.
never works. Um,
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get angry with
So
that.
yeah, this is a big Linux kernel release. It really is. A lot of exciting things coming down the pipeline.
I'm going to stick with my old antiquated 517 RC, whatever it was when I downloaded.
Yeah. Well, you just upgraded to that, so that makes sense.
I'll try to limit myself to one kernel build a month, maybe two, if something interesting is in it. But that's good news. Good to see. Now, something I've said on this show ad nauseum is, and it's something that I want to say to any hardware manufacturer, is the quickest, most absolute 100% guaranteed way to have your product reverse engineered is to not release Linux drivers. I've seen this time and time and time again, because then it becomes a challenge, then it becomes a weekend project, and it will be thoroughly documented. Back in my rack, Motu, Mark of the Unicorn, they make audio interfaces, and said, Linux is dumb. They told Paul, one of the creators of Adore, like, you're a bunch of stinky hippies. We're not going to mess with Linux. And then the Fado project started up, and they just reverse engineered their entire stack. To this day, that hurts their sales because, they quit making the Windows drivers. They quit making the Mac drivers. It's like, oh, no, you got to buy our new stuff. No, Linux, we get open source. It's been done. So we just keep running it. We plug it into a brand new system and just keep on going. Now, I wanted to bring up the sound because Sound Blaster, who remembers having the AW32 or the AW64?
Oh, absolutely. I still have them in a lot of my machines in my collection. We love those cards.
Probably, I think maybe the first 2 or 3 years I was doing Linux Gamecast, it was being recorded on an AW64 PCI.
Yeah,
sound card.
That's right.
That was one of our jokes. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how we get that smooth PCI bus sound. But I never had anything against Sound Blaster, but I've never went out of the way to buy sound cards. By the time I was really looking into buying, the last internal sound card I bought was an RME that worked. I'm not talking about the Digigram stuff, but now everybody just buys an external USB DAC, which makes sense because unless you get a really good reason, you don't want to put anything inside. This is not an internal card, but this is the Sound Blaster X7. And it turns out that didn't work with Linux. Le shock, right? Le gasp. But it did work over Bluetooth. There was an Android app that was able to control it. And be honest, if I bought something like that and I found out later, I'm like, oh, I can that's where I would have ended my journey. Now this dude, he looked at it and he's like, hey, how do we start capturing Bluetooth traffic? I'm like, this is, I love this because this is example 3172 of, again, what happens when you don't release Linux drivers. And he starts off with this is, I have no idea what I'm doing, how to do this. I love that approach because it's a great excuse to learn something new. But yeah, he kind of goes into it. He used the Bluetooth HCI snoop log, captured the Bluetooth traffic, parsed it with Wireshark. Then he used JADX and the APK tools to decompile the X7 app, the Android app itself. Now, right now, it's a little bit limited, but it's only limited to what he needed to work. And that's effectively just muting and being able to adjust the volume. If you're thinking about installing it, it's a pip install, runs some, just from the command line. There's no nice, pretty GUI. So that might be a deal breaker for some people, but this is just a fascinating read. I love seeing stuff like this when somebody sits down and goes, hey, we're going to make this work. It just makes me happy. And again, 10, 15 years from now, when, I'm so, because Microsoft's like, Windows 10 is the last version of Windows. Here's Windows 11, by the way. When it's at a Windows 19 and Sound Blaster's like, yeah, it's a legacy product. We don't support that anymore. It's still going to work into Linux.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually really excited about this because I have the Sound Blaster X7 on my eBay watch list. I've had it there for a while, and they go for bank on eBay. I mean, starting at $300 for one that's not complete, all the way up to $1,000. So they're a real collector's item. And it is actually a really high-powered, high-efficiency Class D digital amplifier that delivers up to 100 watts of power. and it's received a lot of awards, including several CES 2015 Innovation Awards.
Oh my
So this
God,
is a
Jill,
really
this thing's
sought after.
hideous. I want one.
Yeah, and it's a triangle. I think it's really cool looking. And they have it comes in black or white. I want the white one. And I've had this on my list because I actually use external DACs on my computer, listen to music and play games over a 5.1 sound system. So I would really like one of these, and now I have a good reason to get one because someone has made it work on Linux. So yay.
That is truly hideous.
Really
I love
cool.
It's a triangle. I understand why it probably didn't set well because what can you put on top of a triangle on your desk? Nothing.
Yeah.
Is the correct answer to that. So. Fantastic.
Well,
Great
you
read.
can install Endeavor OS, which has a triangle logo, and use that with Endeavor.
Maybe get some like old Rokus, maybe stack it together. I mean, man, I'm violently against any manufacturer that doesn't conform to being a square.
So you can't set anything on top of it.
Exactly. You're like, oh, so, and that's, I've heard that logic. Like, yeah, we designed it that way to make sure it's at the top of all of your stuff. Like, it never gets involved in my stuff.
Well, they were trying to make it, well, they were trying to make it pretty for desktop use, really.
Well, you got to think about it. This is before the days of enhancing sonic fidelity with RGBs. So they had to make it stand out. You know, the triangle really adds to the upper lower mids. Yeah. Oh, man. It looks like an interesting piece of kit. So I'm glad it works on Linux. So if you got one, maybe you've had one in the closet. You're like, oh, that doesn't work because I know I got a stack of equipment. I'm like, I wonder if that's ever going to work into Linux, which I've had that wonderful experience of, just maybe reading Hacker News or a project that I was following. I get up and like, hey, we have working drivers for this now. It's a fun time to go play with something. So there you go. If you want to come play with us, you can do that by becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. That's how we finance this show, air quotes around it. It's just us cutting up. That's what we do. But we actually do a bunch of stuff on top of this. We got Linux Gamecast Weekly, the longest running Linux gaming podcast for over a decade. We've been doing that. We'll be doing that Saturday night. We got game streams during the week. We got our Trackmania series that we're running on Tuesdays and Fridays right now. I try to do a lot of stuff with the back end with audio, video production, tutorials, and guides on Linux because I want to get the next generation up and armed, and I want to get people who are curious about this stuff. Basically, I want to have a nice little stash of when I see you can't do X, Y, Z on Linux. I'm like, yeah, you can. Here. I don't, there's no point in saying, yeah, you can, unless I can go, yeah, you can. I've made a guide for you. Enjoy. Because then you can sort out the people like, but I was just saying that to say it because I thought it was cool. I'm like, that's cool, man. Just don't add to the FUD around Linux. That's got awesome. We get access to our Discord. You can do that if you're also a Twitch subscriber. We throw in a bunch of extra stuff, probably more than we should. Starting at 4 quarters a week. Yeah, we got the pre-post show, all that. And if you want to get everything a little bit early, especially with things like the Interfacing Linux series, speaking of audio, I always put those out about a week early. Because it's a super sneaky way from like, is there any typos in any of this? Did I mess anything up? And everyone can provide the feedback. It's a fun time, Joe. We got some people we probably want to thank this week.
Yeah, we've got Hardstyle123 who just followed us, and Nubbin did a resub. Thank you, Nubbin. Woohoo, we love you.
I want to throw down to all of our patrons. Mir threw a 30-month resub on Twitch.
On Saturday, yeah.
Foxy bought a copy of Fall Guys for Jordan. Oil of Hope picked up Gloomhaven. I think might have been for Jordan. And David and Zeno increased their Patreon pledge.
David and Zeno.
Yeah. So that is kind of brilliant. Stick around for your name in the credits because we will tell you about that. We got Amazon wish list for both of us. If you want to buy us something super sweet, that's cool. But we get a little thing where you can send in a note and we'll read it on the show. So try to keep that, what do you say, PG-13?
Yeah.
PG-13-ish?
Yeah.
We don't want to go for like the hard R or the even worse NC-17. On Saturday, have fun, though. We'll pretty much read it.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't land
on this
us
show,
in the internet
when Yeah. Well, on this show, when you get something from our wish zone or our wish list on Amazon, we will read your note on the air. But it's got to be clean for LWW.
Have you ever seen an
And come
individually
in.
wrapped banana? I've seen that before, like individually
Uh,
wrapped pieces of fruit, or things that are just silly. I've seen bananas wrapped in plastic. I'm like, really? You're doing that?
yeah.
Or an apple or an
Yeah,
orange?
saran wrap
Like a single
to
use. You can
keep
buy it
them
at buy it at a
fresh.
store like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you can. They're wrapped up. A lot of the a lot of Asian stores have their food wrapped up.
I see this at like
You
Whole
just buy it that way.
Foods sometimes, but more often
Yeah.
like Kroger's and stuff. Like, why do you need to involve packaging in a banana? I don't
Yeah.
understand. But hey, not to be left out, we're going to include packaging in a slice of pie.
Yeah, pie. Actually, pecan
Individual.
pie is quite good.
It's like, how much plastic can we waste for some junk food? Oh, hold my sake. And there it is.
Yeah.
What do we
I,
got
w-
this? I
I
know
wish
you were
that wasn't
distracted by the
plastic
pie.
and it was, yeah. I wish that container was not plastic and it was biodegradable. So this is really cool. There is a big update to the Raspberry Pi Zero, Raspberry Pi OS Bullseye that is focused on greater security. And for instance, in the latest release, the default Pi user is actually being removed. And instead, you will have to create a user the first time you boot a newly flashed Raspberry Pi OS image like you do with other Linux distros. So this just totally makes sense for security reasons. And the Raspberry Pi setup wizard, which runs on the first boot and lets you configure international settings, connecting to wireless LAN, install software updates, and change the default password, is no longer optional. So you have to run through the setup wizard, and this is how a user account now is created. And until you create a user account, you cannot log into the desktop. So this is actually a really major change, but I think is really wonderful for security. And for people who run their Raspberry Pi headless and cannot work through the wizard, the Raspberry Pi Imager tool allows you to pre-configure an image with a user account. So lots of good things coming to this Raspberry Pi update for sure. And I know Ven found some other goodies to talk
Here's the
about.
thing, man. I can defeat this new security. I'm just not going to create a user.
Uh-oh.
What are you going to do now, huh? That's what I thought. No user. That's a joke, kids. If I have to explain it to you, it won't be as funny. Now, check this out. This is because some countries have introduced legislation to forbid any internet-connected device from having a default login credentials, which is good. IoT. Welcome to the modern botnet. That's basically what we're dealing with. Now, users, as Jill said, you're going to create a default user when you install the OS. I'm down with that. Why? Because some software is going to still expect the default Pi login. So you're still probably going to want to you're going to make that Pi eventually at some point for the foreseeable future. So you want to go ahead and do that. Now, if you are using the Pi OS Lite image, it doesn't have that wizard. It doesn't have the GUI. I'm looking at this. I'm like, you can plug a monitor into a Raspberry Pi, which I'm kind of joking, but I just don't consider like the Pi back here in the rack, which is running the stream.
It's headless.
Yeah, I never think to like plug video into a Raspberry Pi, but it'll give you a nice little command line setup to do everything where you can currently like manage most of the stuff from the CLI. It's pretty neat. Text prompt, command line, headless. You can do it through the Raspberry Pi Imager, which is another thing, I'm really glad they updated that Imager because I had
that's very nice.
Long drawn out, overcomplicated way of setting up your Wi-Fi login credentials on a Pi, just pre-baked into an image. Now you can just do it through the image. You're like, hey, here's all my network stuff, and it just works out of the box. Super excited that it's there. Now, this is something I didn't know. I didn't know this. Now, I knew that there was Bluetooth and the
Yes.
Raspberry. I'm like, hey, yeah, look, oh, it's an adapter. How do I kill that? Oh, okay, that's how I cut that off. That was my experience with it.
Yeah, I usually turn it off too. Yeah.
You couldn't pair a Bluetooth device initially unless you had a USB Bluetooth dongle. You had to have that set up in order to do that initial pairing. This is no longer the case. You can now just do it out of the box, so you don't have to worry about, mice, keyboard, hit devices. And
Yeah.
saving the best for last, because Wayland's back, baby.
Yes.
It
Woohoo!
is. It's there. Kinda.
You can use Wayland experimental on the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, they're rolling on like, hey, it's there.
Yeah.
And you got to appreciate the Raspberry Pi Foundation because they're straight up daring you to use it. Like, yeah, go ahead. See what happens. Bring it.
Absolutely.
And, it's not going to be a full Wayland experience just yet, but it's something to play with. Again, I would never think to do this because, have I? I think once I bought the Pi 4 8 gig when those existed. And I think I did because I bought that fancy case for it, and it had like the HDMI breakout, where it put all the connectors on one side logically, and I plugged HDMI into that to watch it boot. I'm like, look at that, click, never used it again. But yeah, there you go. That's an update that I'm not going to get anywhere near for the foreseeable future. But it is there if you want to go play with it. It's easy enough to upgrade.
Absolutely.
You know how to upgrade your Pi. And default Pi users, RIP. That's
yeah.
goodbye Pi.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really happy though about the Bluetooth keyboard and mice integration now, because then you don't have to have a separate keyboard and mouse, whether it be wired or USB wireless, and then hook that, connect it to your Bluetooth. So, because so many people now have Bluetooth keyboards and mice because of their mobile devices. So that kind of makes sense. It's a really nice feature to have.
Not me. I'm a rebel, Jill. Mine uses 2.4 gigahertz and interferes with Wi-Fi signals.
Yes.
But you can use it from across the house because that's a feature I only know this because I took this thing across my house to go clean it, and I came back and my desktop was up to all kinds of things.
Uh-oh.
Where I had been pushing on buttons, cleaning it,
dust
right-clicking.
bunnies?
No, I had a bunch of windows open and stuff from cleaning the mouse because it was communicating just fine to the running system in here. And I'm glad I didn't send anybody a weird email. That I will take as an absolute win.
I see.
So
it was self-activated.
it was still going. I assumed it would be out of range. Yeah. Nay, it was not. It was not. So yeah, there's the Pi thing. I still use Pi. I think, I absolutely still have Pi set as the default user on this one, but it's not, it is, okay. It is web facing. It's got a password on it. Don't come at me, bro. I mean, it's sitting behind a firewall, but that's not a challenge. All right. We're going to get out of here. If you want to get in contact with us, leave us a comment on YouTube or head over to linuxgamecast.com. We got a contact button. And if you say something real nice and spicy or something worth reading, we might read it on the show. Okay, everyone. We survived this. Let's get out of here.
We survived. Roll
some credits.
Let's thank all our beautiful patrons. See if I can do it. Read the patron credits fast enough. Probably can't. But I will try. Advisors, Omegas, Artherin. Yay! And our executive producers, Aldius, Barbrandt, Scott M, Atomic Ass,
Too
Mike
late.
G.
Minus 1 point.
Aw.
Darkwing, Abstractions. Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah. Sea Monsters, Ronald, Ryder X Machina, Trudgills, Veritanuda, Justin. See, I can't write them.
She's bacon.
Our credits are going by too quickly. But you will see them on video on YouTube
and
Twitch.
Just imagine.
Yeah. Thank you all. We love you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
I don't know. Joe wants to get you with her crab claws.
Yeah, he thinks I'm looking through a monocular or something.
A monocular, yes.
I have a monocular for one eye. But yes, a binocular is the more standard.
Also known as a spyglass.
Art there. Yeah.
Like pirates have, who have hooks, Jill.
Pirates, yeah. Yeah.
See, this
They
leads
sure
me
do.
back to the theory. That's why you're
Pirates
holding your
have
hooks
them.
up, because you're a pirate.
Yeah. Yeah, pirates have them because they often have eye patches because their eyes got damaged in a brawl. And
I'll help you out on that. Do you know why pirates wear eye patches?
yeah.
The average pirate, 2 functioning eyes. They weren't missing an eye.
Yeah, that was a thing. Some of them did have damage, but yeah, mostly it was just a
But do you
status
know-
thing, I think.
No, it wasn't a status thing. Let's see if anybody in chat gets this. This was they've done a couple interesting experiences
know.
with that. So when you think about it, when I tell you, you'll go, "Oh, yeah, that does make perfect sense."
I might have heard it before, but I'm forgetting.
Heading in the right direction.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Arthurian.
Oh, inside the ship.
When you gotta go
that
below
makes
deck.
sense.
You can move the patch to the good eye, or the other eye, the one that has been in the darkness, so you can see.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Common misconception: RGB and LED lighting and pirate ships, not that great. Wasn't good.
Yeah. Because they didn't. About the only light they had were candles, and candles fall over in moving ships and catch on fire. So, yeah, that would be a thing. Yeah, so I wear an eye patch to help when I'm having issues, because my left eye I don't really see out of, but I get a lot of light through it, and sometimes that's irritating in the way. So I often wear eye patch when my right eye is getting tired when I'm on the computer, or to play volleyball. Actually, I have it right over here. I keep it handy because it does help. It does really help.
I know where my eye patch is, but wait, I think it's in the top drawer of in the studio here on this.
Where's mine? Mine's a nice, comfy cloth one.
See,
It doesn't go over my headphones too well.
yeah, that looks like you bought a sleeping mask at a half-off sale.
Yeah. No, this is one of the ones the doctors recommend for people with eye issues. It's nice and soft, so I've had those plastic ones and they're horrible. This one's like silk. So
So I want to get a.
but yeah, there's my eye patch.
I'm gonna go ahead and sync this thing in. So give me a clap test, Jill, so I have a recording of
Okay.
this. Give me one more.
There we go. Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Do 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 do.
I want to take a look at. I think we're about 10 milliseconds. I'm
Okay.
going to use a GUI, Jill, so your audio is going to cut out for a second.
Okay. Time to be a pilot.
All right, so I took down the jitter buffer a bit.
Yay!
We'll see. That's about 10
Okay.
milliseconds. This is something you get to do because our audio chain takes a detour from Jill's box back here to the one that I'm recording on. Takes a trip to this PC. So we got to get things synced up within reason. All right. So what do you got going on this afternoon, Jill?
Oh gosh. So I'm gonna do some exercise today, go for a walk, do some chores, get some food. Yeah, but then mostly relax after that. Maybe watch a couple shows later this afternoon.
What kind of shows have you been watching lately?
Oh boy. Well, it's mostly YouTube, mostly vloggers on YouTube, or tech shows, Setup Wars. I need to catch up on Setup Wars, Computer Setup Wars. Also, Linus Tech Tips. I need to catch up with him. Gosh, lots of different.
Didn't he
ones.
do a live stream yesterday? Or the day before?
Yeah, he did. A long one of building a computer.
Like one of those little torture computers?
Yeah. I haven't watched it all yet.
I know
I saw the very
they
beginning
were
of
working on it. I cut it on. It was in the background. And when I came back
okay.
around, it was towards the end and they'd given up trying to make it work. So I don't know exactly. I will give you my word. If I ever build a PC live on air, that'll be a totally original thing that everyone has done at some point. I will not end the stream until that system boots. I would never tap out. That's admitting defeat.
Yeah. I've seen him do that before, but I know this time he was doing that because all the parts, he can get all the parts at, pretty close to MSRP now. So he was excited because he hasn't done a build in a long time. And so I also watch Random Frank P and TechSource, and they do computer setups and build systems as well. And then there's Bitwit, who I really love. Paul's Hardware. Yeah, I need to catch up on all them. I haven't watched them in a couple weeks. So I need to catch up on my tech podcast because mostly I'm listening to Linux podcasts or my amusement park podcasts.
I'm boring. I listen to physics lectures.
Those are fun too. I watch a lot of space vloggers with Steven and podcasts.
What does Steve watch on YouTube when you leave him alone?
Everyday Astronaut.
He hasn't. He used to stream a lot. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, he hasn't been streaming quite as much because so many other people are now covering the launches. So there's a couple others too that he watches. I'm forgetting the names. I got so many subscriptions. I forget all their names.
Do I have a lot
But
of
90% of my subscriptions are tech and Linux. So
the other 10% is people walking around Disney.
yes, absolutely. And those I do watch every day because I like to hear the Disney news and see. A couple of my favorites are Fresh Baked and Best Life and Beyond, and they do a really good job at covering all the Disney news, going to the parks and seeing what's new. And that's It's just fun. Sometimes I just like, they'll just do ambient recordings at Disneyland, and I love that.
What, crowd noise?
They'll do a 3-hour recording of just walking around Disneyland and hearing all the sounds and the happy people and all the rides. And sometimes I just have that on in the background. It's nice, comforting. And then sometimes I'll put on like Linus building a computer, that kind of thing.
That's usually my background noise is usually something tech related. You know, somebody working on something.
Yeah.
Usually involves somebody with a soldering iron out of the past 2 weeks.
Oh,
week
yeah,
and a half.
yeah.
I've just been watching a bunch of, or listening to a bunch of Reaper stuff because.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That's
yeah,
how
that
you
makes
learn
sense.
things these days, kids. You watch all the YouTube videos and
YouTube.
try to create an amalgam of correct information from partially right information and opinionated information, which is always fun to sort through. But eventually, if you try enough things, you'll get moderately competent at something, which is great. You know, I love that. I've said that. You remember back when the original Matrix came out, there was that great scene when Neo asked Trinity, he's like, hey, do you know how to fly that thing? When you're sitting with the helicopter, and she's like, not yet. Hang on.
Not yet. I like that. I always love that. Yeah.
And, you know, then we got the minigun
That's
scene,
cool.
which was great too. That was just icing on the cake. But I was like, that's really neat. And we're kind of there as a society. It's just our bandwidth really sucks right now. You know, it's like, hey, do I know how to do that? Not yet. Let me go to the internet. And between YouTube and just Googling or whatever resources I can find, you can usually figure out how to do it.
Yeah, you learn so much. I know. I spend most of my time watching YouTube. I mean, I have Netflix, and I do occasionally watch, you know, Disney Plus, the Star Wars and the old Disney movies, and then, of course, Star Trek on Paramount Plus. But 90% of our viewing is on YouTube because I love all the education and everything you learn from vloggers, documentaries. It's just fascinating.
There's a lot of that.
And you can learn anything you want. You know, it's just great.
Unless it's medical. Don't rely on YouTube for your medical information.
Don't rely on YouTube for absolutely not. Don't rely on the internet at all for that. Scare the heck out of you.
But things have gotten better. You know, now we have, you know, I think pretty much everybody's using timestamps, which is good because there's nothing worse than like when I do a YouTube video, when I set up videos, they're the anti because nothing has successfully irritated me quite as much as like, hey, I want to know how to do this one thing. That's in the video title, which is like 10, possibly 15 seconds of information I need that is in a 23-minute video somewhere that you have to sit through. Like, hey, man, I'm here, and let's go ahead and show you how to set up also with Reaper. I'm using this as an example, but man, let me tell you about my day and all this other, and let me do some really bad comedy. And look, whooshy graphics, and I just need the information. That's what I try to hammer out when I do a video. Like, don't watch anything I do on fast forward; you'll miss something. It's a great time to be, you know. You take the good with the bad, right? Like, things are going bad, but it's an interesting time to live in as far as the federated amount of information we have available to us as individuals.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? That's one of the reasons I'm actually been mostly watching YouTube in 1.5 or twice the speed, honestly, just so I can get through more because I can understand, you know, real fast speaking, no problem. So I actually like doing that. I've gotten used to it. So
you should be watching
that's the way I can get through.
From Library or Odyssey. You shouldn't be watching YouTube. Yeah. Those are evil, Jill.
Oh, well, I do actually. I've watched our content on Odyssey. Yeah. But that is really nice. Odyssey, and I have a lot of shows I need to catch up on, like regular, you know, TV shows I need to catch up on because YouTube takes all my time. It's our lives, I guess. So
I'm just not good at unidirectional entertainment.
Yeah.
Sitting down watching something
I like variety
for entertainment, like like watching a movie stuff. If I'm watching like a 2-hour movie, it's going to take me about, and by myself, I can behave and like put up with it. Well, I got to watch it in a group or at a theater or something like that. But by myself, it's going to take like 6.5 hours because I can't sit down and zone out and like, I'm just, okay, hey, look, I'm being that's not enough entertainment. And I don't want to be distracted. I'm like, oh no, you just grab a tablet or a laptop while you're watching the movie. I'm like, what's the point of the movie then? So.
Yeah. I know there are times I will do that and hubby will say, he'll pause it. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. Just let it play.
Just be like, I wasn't paying attention to begin with. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah. But that's one of the reasons, Steve and I don't get around to watching a lot of movies because you have to invest that time. And I love movies, but usually I'm just, when I'm watching something, especially on YouTube, I get ideas and I'm writing things down or making little notes to myself, or I think of something, I need to watch videos on from this other artist. And it's just, it's hard to focus. It is. And there's so much to watch. And I can't get around to watching.
Moral of the story, everybody,
require more time.
Never stop learning.
Yeah.
Always be interested in
Exactly.
the next thing, because that's one thing I worry about. I don't think that part of me every day, but I've witnessed firsthand that I'm definitely at the age of where I'm not actively seeking out new music.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Well, we have, within the genre that we mostly listen to, there's a lot of new artists, and their music I enjoy because we put them on at night before we go to bed. But I don't have I've have such an eclectic mix of music that I like that I haven't really found a lot that's new.
I'm trying. I'm subscribing and listening to new stuff, but I'm not actively seeking it out anymore. Of course, we don't necessarily have that medium of even like curated playlist. It's, you think about classic rock like Nirvana. Searching for more
I
old
hear you,
music.
System T. Yeah. You know what's so funny? That's cool that you said that, System T, because one of the things my husband has been enjoying is there are YouTube channels of vloggers who get their reactions to music they're hearing for the first time, say like Pink Floyd. There's a young couple that listens to music from the 60s and 70s they've never heard of, and to hear their reactions to it. They're into, their audio files into music and sound. So it's really neat to hear their impressions, someone else's impressions of the music. And Stephen has been enjoying that.
Are they in their like 20s and 30s or what?
Yeah, 20s and 30s, younger people.
Why would you value the opinion with people without taste? How could you be 20 or 30 years old and not listen to Pink Floyd?
Oh, no.
Like, you failed.
You failed. Yeah, that is so true, System T. How beautiful it is and how, just innovative and progressive the music was. Yeah. And I love a lot of music today, too, but it seems like, a lot of the music today is just regurgitating what we had before, but there's a lot of new artists that are awesome. Like, I kind of like how pop music has evolved, honestly. Oh, yeah, Deep Purple is a good one. Good example, yeah.
It's always what you grew up with. If you can pinpoint, like, what years was it? But like, let's say between the age of like 14 and 23, I think for anybody, you can zero in, like, what do you consider the pinnacle of music? And it's going to be like, right about like when I discovered music and I thought it was the best thing in the world. And I was like, oh my man, this stuff's so cool. And we're all like that.
Whatever you discovered when you were younger. Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't mind Deep Purple, like Machine Head. It's somebody, if you've ever picked up a guitar, you learn Smoke on Water at some point because it's one of the easiest things in the world to play.
I remember hearing that a lot on the guitar when I was a kid. People playing that. A lot
But
of Jefferson Airplane.
I listen to, some of the new stuff. I mean, it's derivative, but everything was. I mean, like what we consider classic rock was derivative of, blues.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I like one of the things I'm loving today is the combination of different genres of music by one artist. And I love that they're doing that. People are experimenting and say putting jazz with hard rock, and it's just a really, really fun. The experimentation I just love. And a lot of the artists today are really, really focusing on trying to do something different.
It's one of the things you
Sweet
can do.
Child of Time. Yeah, nice.
Okay, what are we at? I gotta make a note at 1803.
But yeah, the internet has really, it's done so many good things for the music industry. It really has.
Not if you talk to the music industry.
so
They're
much
like, no, it's
choice.
destroyed it. It's miserable.
Yeah, I know it has, because you don't go out and buy physical copies of things anymore.
We can't charge you full price for a single.
Yeah, buku bucks. Yeah. I like the ability to buy one track, because there's some albums that I don't like the whole album, and I like one track on.
This is
Iron Butterfly is cool. Yeah.
It's just a different time. I mean, consumption is, the one thing I do worry about.
Different,
it comes back to that curated thing, because if you're left alone to your own devices, you're going to get into your own musical echo chamber. Like with anything else, you're like, I'm only going to surround myself with stuff that I'm comfortable with or in that genre that I like. And it's hard to like have that moment of like running into something like, whoa, what is this? What is this?
Yeah.
Like I would never be in a situation to hear this, which like ironically, like looking for Creative Commons music, I've ran into a lot of stuff that, that we can play on the stream in the background, like stuff you're listening to right now.
Yeah.
And even stuff with vocals, but I typically don't do that for background music for streams because that can get distracting. But I run into a lot of artists, people who've just released their stuff under Creative Commons, and that's a good way to do it. But that's a lot. You got to slog through some stuff that's equivalent to like me sitting around going, hey, song.
Yeah.
It's not good. But hey, that's pretty decent. Okay. About 5 minutes. I'm gonna wrap this down. I got one mark I gotta fix. We had a little bit of a glitch, but outside of that.
Deep Purple. I heard about that. Yeah. New album.
I couldn't tell you anybody like recently. Like I'll discover. I'm like, oh man, this is a great new band. Oh, this band's been out for 20 years. I've just never knew about it. But this is the curse of having so much choice. I mean, sometimes it's difficult to filter it down, but
yeah, I know, it's so true. We're kind of overwhelmed now. Now you have access to every genre of music, and it's no longer niche. It's everywhere.
Nothing's underground anymore. Nothing.
Yeah. I mean, we used to spend a lot of money going to underground concerts and going to see people that no one knew about because there wasn't a thing called the internet. The only way you got them is went to the used record store and bought it on an album. And I miss that. That's one thing Steve and I really miss. Because when we started dating, that's what we would do. We would go, especially through California, but we went through Arizona. We went to all the used record stores and found our music that was very hard to get. Mm-hmm. And we'd go searching, and part of that fun is gone, because it's all online. It's like, I like having the gatefolds and everything, but I like, it's hard. I mean, it's done a good thing and a bad thing for, there's both positive and negative, I should say, about the internet with music. The
Thank
nice
you for the
thing
resub,
is that,
PT Dave 206 months.
Oh, yeah. Nice. And yeah, we got that follow earlier by Hardstyle. That was cool. And yeah, there's just, but the beauty of it being available to everyone is the younger generation today is able to be exposed to more genres of music that they would have never had a chance to hear before.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you went to a store looking for a record from a certain band or musician.
Looking for that, and you were stuck
so
with,
there's that.
I don't know what I mean. Growing up, we had Radio 1. Yeah, I mean, 3 stations effectively.
Yeah.
There are more varieties.
Then you had radio.
Yeah, but
yeah.
You're still stuck with that. So, but I mean, then again, there's that argument. We can just do this all afternoon. Like, there is something to sitting down and listening to someone else's playlist, because you're going to run across something like, what is that? That's neat.
Yeah.
I need to go find.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was then you find, I think the Menage Quad was one of the last things. I listened to everything, and it was a hip hop jazz band, which I really dug, but by the time I discovered them, they'd already broken up.
Oh, that's always...
Aw. Then I had to go back and whatever happened to... And I mean, this is like a band that formed in 2007, 2008, something like that. And they did, a couple albums. And it's just stuff like that. So, but hey, CD sales are up. People are buying physical media.
Mm-hmm.
Which boggles my mind. But hey.
Yeah, Mir, actually, I've been to Grady's and Music Refugee. We'd been there. We stopped through there. Did I buy anything? I mean, I've been to literally hundreds of record stores throughout my lifetime, so I can't remember if we bought anything at those or not. Fortunately, we still have Amoeba Records here. It's one of the world's largest record stores. We still have quite a few here in Los Angeles, which is really good because it's coming back in. So that's nice.
I live in Athens.
But yeah,
so.
Mir, we did go through Ventura, and this is like in the 90s. We went through Ventura music stores. Early 90s.
That's practically the 80s.
Yeah.
Early 90s. Yeah, man. It was like the 80s minus the cocaine.
Yeah. Yeah, Seltzer's Records. I remember that logo.
All right, everyone. It is 4:30. I got to get to work.
Very cool. Okay.
I got to do that thing.
I got to go get some food and go do chores, go for a walk.
Good,
Aww,
Steve. Just
Steve
in
has
time.
been. We were just talking about music.
That's what I would have said too. Possibly tomorrow I'll be back with Jordan. Maybe some other people will be testing out Back for Blood with easy anti-cheat support under Linux. We'll see if that little blue teddy bear lives up to what it claims. Friday, Trackmania points match. Hop on, get to practice. We'll be doing that 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's on the Twitch schedule. There's always a group. 16 slots. That's where I'm going to keep it at. So regular's going to be popping in, win some free games, except for Back for Blood, because that was the one key out of the 60 games. And all the other ones are up for grabs. Saturday, Linux Gamecast Weekly, 8:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 for a patron. We do the pre super shows, and then we'll be back in a week later. But it's all on schedule. You got any closing words?
Just get out there and Linux all the things and enjoy installing and tinkering and building things. Have fun with the Raspberry Pi and all those cool SoCs. Or just decide, hey, today I want to try a new distro. So do that. Get out a new hard drive and install a new version of Linux.
Now I was just thinking about something. Well, again, maliciousness. How fun it would be to swap out somebody's NVMe drive with a spinny drive. Just image that over and see how long it took them to figure out why their computer was getting so incredibly slow all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. There we go. And a 54 RPM.
Yeah, exactly.
One at that.
like a NAS drive, like a low speed, I mean, something that just crawls.
Yeah.
Oh.
And yeah, Mira, I have been to Grady's. It was, Steve and I, we continued to take trips. I mean, this is actually still recent. We still do it occasionally. But yeah, we did a lot in the 2000s as well.
The aughts. Good night, everyone.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Love you all.
Going out on some classic wub.
Wub.
Back
Wub,
in my
wub,
day,
wub.
things went up. They don't even go oonce anymore. I don't know what they do now, but they definitely make sounds.
Boots and pants, boots and pants, boots and pants.